Accessibility in the 2021 Census with Sheridan Winter, AliCamp 2022. AliCamp would like to thank our gold sponsors Intopia, Salesforce and Telstra, and silver sponsors ANZ, Deloitte Digital and Coles.
Hello, my name is Sheridan Winter and I'm from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. And today I am presenting from Frankston, Victoria, and I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands, both for wherever you're watching from and from the lands that I'm presenting on today, so the Bunurong people. And I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge any members of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community who may be watching today. Today I'm here to talk to you about accessibility in the 2021 census. The 2021 census counted more than 25 million people and over 10 million households. So accessibility is always at the forefront of our thinking and our planning. In this session, I'll be covering what the census is, the research and testing we undertook, the app that was developed for census field staff, online accessibility, and ways that we offered support to the public. Let's first start with what the census is. Census is held every 5 years and is one of the largest and most important statistical collections that the ABS undertakes. It counts each household and person in Australia on census night. It informs really crucial decisions on transport, schools, hospitals, healthcare in general, infrastructure and business. And it also helps plan for local services for individuals, for families and for communities. The 2021 census was held on Tuesday, the 10th of August 2021, smack bang in the middle of winter. More than 96% of Australian dwellings completed the census, and most people completed online. So you can see there that 78.9% of people completed online, and we also had 21.2% complete via paper. There was an increase in online uptake. So in 2016, about 63% of responses were online, and obviously now that increase in 2021. People completed in some quite unusual ways, particularly with the online form. So some people completed it using their electric car. A number completed via a gaming device, so for example, a PlayStation. And more than 120 people used older technologies, so BlackBerry mobile phones were some of the devices that were used to complete the census. Building an accessible census starts with the customer, and the public have expectations on the government to provide easy access to services, contemporary digital experiences, tailored interactions, and simple ways of navigating complexity. It is about government services being very clear, fast, and like everything in today's society, we have an expectation that the service will be available 24 hours a day. The census is Australia's largest peacetime operation. When we plan for and run a census, we absolutely cannot do it alone. And we appreciate the support that we get from many organisations along the way. For example, Expression Australia, Vision Australia, Deaf Australia and Intopia, just to name a few. This by no means is an exhaustive list, and there are many partners and stakeholders who provided support to us for the 2021 census, people that are just experts in their field. For this census, we took a human-centred design approach, which is sometimes also referred to as a user-centred design approach to building our digital service. So it's not just the website, it's the online form, and it's the whole experience that people have of our digital offerings. Human-centred design is for everyone. It looks at universal design and it looks at accessibility. And as part of this, we follow the Digital Transformation Agency Digital Service Standard. We took an iterative approach to explore and define the census experience, and we partnered with Meld Studios, who helped us research and understand the needs, the behaviours, preferences and barriers to completing the census. We've listed here 5 principles that guided the design of the census. So the first one being focus on value. And that's about identifying and celebrating the value that census brings to individuals and to Australia as a whole. It's about setting up for trust and delivering on that promise, which is about inspiring and reinforcing to the public so they've got confidence in the census. Designing for motivations, capabilities and needs. This is about building an evolving understanding of our respondents. Engaging through all channels. This is proactively connecting with the public, and it's about connecting with the public where and when they need us. And then it's about designing a contemporary government experience. And this looks at the way that we work. So reframing it to focus on the census as a government service rather than as a set of distinct product teams. When designing a usable service, the key is not to assume anything, and the key as well is to conduct extensive testing. We tested for the entire experience with people from different backgrounds, ages, digital literacy, and types of households. We did a range of testing, and some of our usability and accessibility testing included cognitive testing. And this is where we observed participants undertaking tasks within the digital service, and then we interviewed them afterwards to understand what that experience was like. We did usability testing with about 500 professional testers and 500 volunteers from the ABS, and accessibility testing. So you can see all the dot points there that we've listed out that took up part of that accessibility testing, making sure that functionality and features worked across the board. And we needed to make it easier for people to participate in the census. So particularly users that had that may have a disability or have poor digital literacy. We had Intopia complete an independent accessibility review of the website against WCAG, or the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.0, Level A and AA. And lastly, something not listed on the slide, but we undertook 2 quite significant tests, large-scale tests with members of the public. So we selected about 40,000 households in 2019. And then in 2020, we did another test, and that included about 100,000 households as well. When we talk about online accessibility, we are referring both to the online census form and also the website. We had over 19 million visitors to our website, so it's crucial that it was accessible for everybody. The census online form was created to ensure it was accessible for all. It had simple login features, navigation and help, and people could also save their form and complete it later. I know for a lot of people that was really crucial, particularly in the busy lives that we lead with kids, cooking dinner, work, caring responsibilities. It was important that that had that feature, that people could come back to it when it suited them. All aspects of the form were responsive to device type and screen size. It worked for both large desktops down through to mobile phone screens, and if you were going between, it was quite a smooth transition between each display type. The online form also supported common assistive technologies, so it worked with screen readers, keyboard navigation, screen magnification, and voice recognition. The form also had smarts built in, features such as sequencing to only show relevant questions. For example, we would only ask questions about employment for people aged 15 and over. And we also had autofill responses to subsequent questions that were related to previous responses. So, for example, the first question that we ask is, what is the address of this dwelling? And once people go through that, they'll then get piped through as a response option that will be available for when there's questions about the dwelling for other questions. So, for example, their usual address, where they lived 1 year ago and where they lived 5 years ago. It took around 34 minutes for people to complete the form online. Everyone completing online was asked to provide feedback after submitting their form. 69% of those responded said their experience was good, 27% were neutral, and only 4% thought that it needed some significant improvement. We looked at the feedback provided, and we're always looking at ways that we can make improvements for future censuses. To support the work of our field staff, we had an application called My Work, which was developed between the ABS and a company called Tiger Spike. This was used by field staff to complete their workload. We had around 30,000 field staff across Australia who used this app. It was intuitive and accessible and needed to cater for a diverse user group that had varying technological literacy. It also supported a BYOD strategy, or bring your own device, which included a wide range of devices and operating systems, and that was managed by a central remote platform. Features and functionality for this offline capability. So that was quite important to support work in remote areas that had either little or no connectivity. Geolocation, and that's about creating dwellings and being able to assist in work health and safety functions. The allocation of work to field staff, it allowed them to know where to go and what to do. Recording the outcome of a dwelling visit. So, for example, this was where there may have been no building at the address. If the building was under construction, they could include that in there. It needed to be integrated with several existing ABS systems, and obviously needing to be WCAG compliant. We won a gold award in the Digital Government Services category at the 2022 Driven X Design Government Awards for this app. The 2021 census was the most accessible Australian census ever conducted. Our work in this area was recognised at the 2021 Australian Access Awards. So the ABS and the 2021 census won Government Website of the Year and was also a finalist in the Accessibility Initiative of the Year category. The Census Digital Service was heralded as world-class for its support of accessibility for people with disabilities through its application of WCAG 2.0 AA. Whilst we're expected to make technological advances, we also need to continue offering paper forms for parts of the population that either continue to need it or prefer that option. We also had information and support available on the census website on how people could complete their form. This included 33 downloadable audio files available from early June last year. There were 66 Auslan videos, and we partnered with Expression Australia to help develop these guides with closed captions, and they were available from early July last year as well. Both these audio and video resources provided information on every census question, including why we asked the question and also frequently asked questions as well. Closed captioning and transcripts were available for all video content on the census website. We also had resources available for CALD communities, so culturally and linguistically diverse communities, with in-language videos about why we have the census, how do I complete it, keeping your personal information safe, and also some case studies on how census data is used. We had 27 fill in the form and information sessions, and these were recorded and available both on our website and also the ABS YouTube channel, which you're welcome to check out now. They're still up now. And for the last 3 dot points on that screen there, we've got the Easy Read Guide or Simple English Guide to the Census, fact sheets and lesson guides and worksheets. So the Information Access Group are a company that supported us to develop these resources. They were really important for members of the public, but also for community organisations and service providers who help and support members of the community coming in with questions. We had a number of ways that people could get in contact with us, either to request a paper form, help, or just for general information. One of the ways that people could reach us is through the Census Contact Centre, and that provided phone and online services for people who wanted to talk directly to a member of our team. It was run by Services Australia on behalf of the ABS, and it was open 7 days a week between the 5th of July and the 1st of October. And during the time that the contact centre was open, they answered over 645,000 calls. People could also call the contact centre through the National Relay Service, and this provided assistance to callers through NRS Chat, Speak and Read, Type and Listen, and Voice Relay. About halfway down the screen there, we've got the paper form request service. So this was a phone automated service available 24 hours a day, and it was there for people who had their census number and wished to order a paper census form. For the first time in 2021, this service could also be used to order Braille forms, both Type 1 and Type 2. It was open from late July, and there was we processed over 400,000 requests for paper forms through this service. And lastly on this page, chatbot, the lovely Claire you can see on the page there. Claire, the chatbot, was our virtual assistant, and she offered people the option to find relevant information, census information online, and that was a guided journey. So the public could then select from a range of options presented to them to get some information. And lastly, we had face-to-face help. So support was available for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, culturally and linguistically diverse people and communities, people experiencing homelessness, and people that just wanted to get face-to-face help. We set up face-to-face help, or what we called pop-up hubs, in locations that were convenient and easy to access. So you can see on the screen there that we were set up out the front of a Woolies, and we set up quite a few pop-up hubs out the front of supermarkets or within shopping centres and at libraries as well. These were places where people could get paper forms and just general support. On the census website, we had a Find Us map, which are the other images on the screen there, and they were available for people to find local help in their area. The map could be searched by location or postcode, and results listed the days and times that were available. And in many locations, we also offered support in languages other than English. Vision Australia were fantastic. They helped us with testing the map functionality to ensure it was compatible with screen readers. What's next? So websites should be for everybody. And improvements in technology mean that for 2026, it will be an exciting time for digital accessibility. For the 2026 census, we're looking at ways that we can build on the success of 2021. We know we must continually evolve to meet public expectation about what a census should deliver and improve our customer support services. For example, we need to ensure we keep the census accessible and that we provide Braille forms and improve both our digital and our non-digital support options. If you would like further info on what we did in 2021 and how we're planning for 2026, the 2026 census, please visit our website at abs.gov.au/census. And I'd just like to thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
AliCamp 2022.